Hey there, and welcome to Workforce Waves, the podcast for recruitment and staffing founders who are ready to grow, scale, and shake up the industry. I'm your host, Kirutika Munusamy, and I'm so glad you're here. This is where we have real, no-nonsense conversations about what it takes to build a thriving business. Forget the fluff. We are all about the strategies that actually work, shared by the people who have been there and done it. A quick shout out to our sponsor, Ambrosial Automations. At Ambrosial Automations, we are kind of your behind-the-scene partner for growth. We help recruitment and staffing businesses streamline their operation, bring in quality leads, boost sales, and scale up without the upfront risky costs. We work on revenue share model. We don't succeed unless you do. If you're curious about how it works, head over to ambrosialautomations.com for a free 12-month growth plan that is tailored just for you. All right, let's dive in. Today, we have a very special guest joining us, Anthony of the Theodoros Group. He is a 2-times founder, a 4-times girl dad, the founder and CEO of the Theodoros Group. Anthony, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes. So, Anthony, in a nutshell, what does TTG do?
So the Theodoros Group was founded in Texas, in Corpus Christi, in 2024, and we're a national staffing, recruiting, and HR consulting practice that provides tailored solutions to our clients and candidates. So in a nutshell, if you kind of think of us like a matchmaker, but for careers, is kind of a really good way to describe what the Theodoros Group does. We have 2 distinct business lines. We're looking to launch a third in the middle of 2025, but right now we have our search consulting division, which focuses on, highly qualified professional placement. You think like engineers, controllers, CFOs, etc., those types of roles. And then we have our HR consulting practice, which is an incredibly talented team of, very well qualified HR professionals at the director or chief human resource officer level. And we provide strategic guidance to growing organizations, startups, and mergers and acquisitions and divestiture. So that's kind of TTG in a nutshell.
Well, that's great. You guys have a lot of things under your wing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Anthony, what are the big trends that you're seeing in the industry right now?
Yeah, I think this is a question that's proposed to me quite a lot when I'm talking to business owners that are looking for solutions for their organizations. And I think in the recruiting industry or the consulting space, I think the shift from remote work and hybrid work to back in the office is definitely a trending topic right now. It's changed the demand for talent and the nature of recruitment. Many agencies are leveraging automated tools now to potentially replace human capital. And they're trying to streamline their recruiting process, which enhances candidate screening and helps the overall matching process of candidates to the perfect job. It not only accelerates placement, it also helps ensure that candidates align more closely with the specific needs of hiring companies. Me personally, I'm still a little on the fence with automation and trending topics such as remote work. I'm a little old school when it comes to relationships. I prefer the human touch. I mean, we are an HR agency and the first word in HR is human. So I still love that human interaction. I think there's probably a place for automation. I just don't know if it's part of the client-facing aspect of what we do. I think there's maybe in the analytics, maybe in some of the discovery, but nothing beats the personal touch that we have.
Yeah, that is very true. Adding on the same point, I feel when it comes to candidate-client relations, it's better to keep it human. But when it comes to the operations or, following up and such streamlining of, the marketing and the sales strategies, I guess automations or AI can be a better suit for it. Because there is always a human error part that comes in and delay. So, Yeah.
I agree. I mean, there's going to be human error, but I think that's part of what makes us human. And I think when you're talking to an organization, it's typically a person at an organization. They're still a human. They've probably made mistakes too. And I think, it's always great while everything's going really well with your client, but until a mistake is made is like the true test of the relationship. And you just got to own it. I mean, I make mistakes every day. Our staff make mistakes every day. Our clients make mistakes. And I think it's important to own it when there is a mistake. And again, that's that human aspect, that touch that we still need.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So are there any big initiatives TTG is working on at the moment?
So I think if I think about that question, that I would probably break it into two categories. I mentioned earlier in your introduction that we have two divisions right now. We have our search consulting group and our HR consulting practice. So for our search team, we're currently focusing on enhancing our digital footprint. Things like podcasts, they're becoming much more
Yeah,
popular as a way to reach the younger community,
right,
the up and coming community. That's our next group of leaders. And so we want to continue to utilize social media platforms more effectively to reach those potential candidates.
right,
We're also prioritizing our internal training and how we equip our recruiters to handle our candidates, how to get them prepared for interviews so they can be their best selves when they're trying to interview for a position. So that's probably the big initiatives on the search side. I think for our HR consulting practice, it's all about making the process easy. Compliance should be like a four-letter word. No one wants to
yeah,
hear it. There could be a lawsuit. It can be expensive. And
right.
so I think to simplify the process, I think is a key initiative for our HR consulting practice. That is our focus this year. They call it the KISS initiative. I don't know if you've ever heard of the acronym before.
I no.
KISS is what it
I
stands for.
guess it's better you explain it to our audience.
Sure.
Yeah.
We always operate on the KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid is
Yep.
what KISS stands for. And so I think by simplifying the process, still having the human touch, I think, creates an environment for our client to be much more successful.
Yeah. So can you elaborate a little bit on the HR consultancy operations or processes that you guys do?
Yeah, absolutely. So, our organization, one thing that's trending right now in HR are some of the challenges that are happening in the business. Businesses don't do well with uncertainty. So businesses thrive with certainty. Immigration and talent shortages are a huge concern for business, which is a huge concern for our clients, which becomes a priority for our HR consulting team. Everyone's watching what's happening with AI, but no
Right.
one really thinks about how AI can discriminate and cause issues in the selection of candidates in the
Mhm.
process. There's a famous lawsuit that's happening literally right now, which we're tracking. It's called the Workday lawsuit. I
Yeah.
don't know if you've heard of it before.
Yeah.
Sure. And this is a trending topic that we're following very closely. And just if I can explain to the audience, just very high level what's happening. Effectively, in 2000, plaintiff alleged that he had applied to over 100 positions at an organization that used AI in their applicant tracking system. For us in the industry, we call that an ATS, applicant tracking system.
Yeah.
So basically, the Workday AI technology screened out him 100 times for 100 different positions that he applied for, even though he was qualified for that position. That in itself presents a challenge to AI. And so that is something our HR consulting practice can focus on, where that human touch again, let's think about AI. How is it going to affect our hiring? And maybe there should be a bit of a human aspect into that understanding of, is this person qualified? So that
Yeah.
is something that our HR consultants looking, very, very significantly into. I think also just on the recruiting side, we're the skill shortage in America.
Yeah.
Highly qualified skills in a low candidate base but high demand areas. And I think that we're just going to continue to focus on generating those types of candidates and continue to justify our service to our clients.
Yeah. Well, that's well put. Aside from the Workday case, ATS case that you just mentioned, I guess it's just my opinion, but 2017 was way back, and AI was just, I guess it was in a very primitive stage.
Sure.
But right now, if you see, there is another tool, ATS, Greenhouse, if you have heard of.
I haven't
Uh,
quite heard of that one. No, I haven't. Is it, I mean, I know there's Greenhouse that is like a portal which you can send candidates through for an
yeah,
organization. It may be the same thing. If it's that program,
yeah.
I've used Greenhouse before.
Yeah, it is an ATS, and they are doing amazingly right now. A lot of companies have enrolled with them, and their systems and even their automations. I
Mm,
guess, like you said, there we will never know the kind of bias, the programming, because the AI is being trained on some model, right? So we won't really know what that particular company, the ADS, have designed it to be. So there could be bias. And like you said, the Workday ATS was biasing against a guy. And well, that's very unfortunate. But these guys need to fix their program well, to so that before even releasing, I guess. Otherwise, such lawsuits are prone to come.
I think
Yeah.
that there's often a lag between the law and technology,
Yeah.
always. I mean, that's just the nature of technology. And
Yeah.
I think, lawsuits like the Workday lawsuit can kind of really create policy
Yeah.
that can force, these emerging technologies to really think about the impact of their technology before it goes to market. And I'm
Yeah.
sure that Workday will settle. I'm sure there'll be some policy, some really great policies that will come from it.
Yeah.
Sometimes, we got to walk before we run. Right now, we seem to be running before we walk. And I think
That is true.
we've all got to just slow down a little bit and think about how this new technology is really going to impact not just our candidates, our
Yeah.
clients, but also our core staff that don't want to be replaced by, an autonomous program.
Yeah, that is true. And I guess, like you said, everybody is running towards it and they're not even personalizing it for their company. For example, there is ATS, Workday ATS. So because everybody was looking for automations, they implemented it and they didn't even test it before
Exactly.
putting it out. And that unfortunately backfired. We need to be very aware of automation and AI before, biasing against people who really want such jobs or who are talented candidates. That
Absolutely.
is definitely true. So, tell us more about the opportunities that lie ahead in 2025 for TTG.
Absolutely. And I think a good way to answer this, if I'm allowed, I'll break it down into our two business lines right now as well to give you some more specifics.
Mm-hmm.
So for TTG on our search side, there's a really growing opportunity for our recruiters to specialize in niche markets. Again, we were talking earlier about, high demand, low candidate supply industries. We want to continue to exceed those supplies. We want to continue to invest in technology and skilled trades. Those are really popular, trending skill sets right now. Additionally, they want to continue to offer value-added services such as workforce planning, consulting. They could, position us as an essential partner for our clients. I know we already talked about the Workday lawsuit. There's another lawsuit that recently happened that is really changing the way our HR consulting practice is viewing law because, the laws create policy and our clients need to be within those policies because they want to stay in compliance. You might have heard of a decision called the Chevron difference. Basically what that is in a nutshell was in 2024, I think it was the middle of the year, the U.S. Supreme Court overruled the Chevron difference, which case it was Loper Bright Enterprises versus Raimondo. And this decision basically limited the authority of the federal agencies to create regulation that implement laws. And so now you've got all of these state bodies and organizations challenging the EPA, the EEOC, all of these federal authorities that created law. And this is creating a nightmare for compliance. Now, this is a great opportunity for us because we're so current with how these organizations manage their compliance, and this creates an opportunity for us. But it's decisions like this that really change the landscape of consulting and really position TTG's HR consultants at the forefront of solutions. So, we follow these lawsuits like the Workday and the Chevron difference because they can really affect the way we deliver on milestones for our clients.
Yeah. Well, that's a great opportunity for you guys.
Yes, definitely.
Do you guys have any priorities or goals for 2025 apart from the compliance part of it?
Of course, yeah. We I think I mentioned earlier in the introduction that we are launching a third business line this year. Around July or August of 2025, TTG is going to launch their contingent services division. And basically that's like our temporary division, where we would provide, labor and professional services on a contract to hire basis. We're very excited about that. We have real estate that we've secured. We have partners already in the process, and we're getting ready to staff up to launch that division in the middle of the year. That's very exciting.
Yep.
TTG is in 2 states. with a heavy
Yeah.
presence in California and in Texas. And I can only envision us continuing to expand.
Hmm.
We've already acquired an organization. We've already had one acquisition. We acquired KB Sourcing LLC a few months back. The president of KB Sourcing, Kyle, joined our organization on the search side and brought a pretty significant book of business with him. And then on the HR consulting side, we're looking at some further integration with some very, very well-known consultants that are going to bring some books of business with them. So we're going to both continue to expand organically and inorganically. And we're excited. I mean, 2025 is a year, we're going to
Yeah.
continue to provide exceptional service and hopefully be the agency of choice with our clients.
Yeah. So on the same point, I have a question. Like you were saying, you're now starting out a staffing branch of TTG, right? So, and you were telling me about the shortage of labor in US. So how are you guys thinking of dealing with it?
Yeah. So when you think about certain types of roles, I think the best way to explain contingent services versus a direct hire role or a search role, they're both recruiting, but they're two different solutions. And when you're talking about contingent or temporary services, you're probably talking about higher turnover hourly roles that are maybe not requiring a significant amount of education in those positions. And there are exceptions to that, but you're thinking about, your pick and packer, your laborer, your customer service representative, your basic admin work are a little bit easier to create the solution for your client on a temporary basis. But when you're talking about professional services like engineers, construction managers, controllers, CFOs, it's very driven by the candidate market. You're not going to get a CFO leave a full-time role for a temporary role. So it's typically driven by the candidate pool. So to answer your question about how are we going to manage the shortage of talent, well, we want to make sure we're providing the right solution to the client first before we start the recruiting process. And sometimes that takes education. But yes, the client may want a temporary controller or a temporary construction manager because it may be a little bit cheaper to onboard them. But unless you have a candidate that's willing to do that, you can't fill the job. And sometimes it's important to educate the client. And that's where we're much more consulting focused than just transactional and relationship driven. We want that relationship to where we can say to the client, we understand what you want, but it's just not possible. And this is why. Here's the second solution. This is an example of how we've succeeded with this solution with a competitor of yours or something similar to it, to provide that example. And then we create the solution. And I think that when our clients see that consulting approach, it's not just transactional, it's relationship driven, trust us more with these. I mean, human capital is an incredibly important decision in an organization. And so we want to continue to build that relationship so that they trust us. But that's how we would handle it.
Okay. So one more thing that I was thinking of that could be of benefit to you is international recruiting, right?
Sure.
Because the skilled workers, what you said was perfect for it. Asking somebody to leave their job is difficult and you can talk it out. But if let's say it's about acquiring labor for restoration industry or disaster industry, right? In US right now, with the shortage of labor, international recruiting is booming.
Yes, absolutely.
I've had a lot of founders and CEOs talk of international recruiting, and which is their goal for this year, because they're trying to incorporate as many industries as possible and provide staffing for them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think there's two approaches to international recruiting. I think there's outsourcing, right?
Yeah.
And then there's, immigration, to where you're having highly skilled workers from another country immigrate to America. And without making this podcast political at all, America needs to reform their immigration laws because, we have highly qualified engineers and, IT professionals, what I would call computer science professionals that we need in this country. We cannot build our future without these organizations. I think the H-1B visa program needs to be completely refreshed, but I think that's an opportunity for international recruiting. But I think from an outsource perspective, I think, outsourcing some recruiting function to the Philippines or India is trending. I mean, there's some Latin American countries that are now doing it as well. And again, I think if you can integrate that into your process and there's a cost benefit outcome that doesn't reduce your customer service, then I think we should always be open to the international aspect.
That's true. That's true. So what are your company's vision for the next 3 to 5 years?
Absolutely. That's a great question. We have some large enterprise level clients that we're in the process of securing. I can see our organization securing those. We want to continue to grow our footprint. We're in 2 states right now. We doubled our size from 2024 to 2025. I think we'll double again in 2025. And we want to continue to grow both organically through our business development activities and then inorganically through acquisition. So, we have several opportunities ahead of us to continue to grow the organization. And I think equally to that, we want to continue to invest in our people, our current staff, our core employees. We have a career pathway for every employee in the organization on how they can get to the next level. We have a partnership program to where our biggest producers can own equity in the company and be a partner with our organization. So we want to, again, continue to invest in our employees, and we want to continue to, invest in technology that makes their roles a little easier to do every day, and then obviously consequently provide quality services to our clients.
And that's good. So in 3 to 5 years, you guys are focusing to grow big, increase revenue.
We want to continue to grow. I mean, I think we will double our revenue this year. I think we'll probably double every year for the next at least 3 years. I mean, I want to say I want to double every year, of course, but sometimes you got to spend money to make money.
Right.
And so, we will just continue to invest and grow. So 3 to 5 years, I think we'll be, we may be in multiple states by then. And hopefully, if we have a chance to visit again on another podcast, we can tell you all of our achievements in that time.
Definitely. I guess we'll call you back again for another episode with Workforce Waves so that we can share how TTG has progressed over the years. That would be insightful.
We would love to participate. That'd be great.
Yeah. So, and that's a wrap for today's episode of Workforce Waves. Huge thanks to our guest, Anthony, for sharing his incredible insights on all the key topics that we touched today. Seriously, I'm walking away with some new ideas myself, and I hope you are too. Now, before we go, Anthony, where can people find you if they want to connect or learn more about your work?
Absolutely. Our website is probably the fastest way to get to our organization and what we do. It's just www.ttgway.com. You can reach us there. We offer free HR consulting audits to our clients, so feel free to just request service, and we'd be glad to help there. That's probably the fastest way to reach us is through the website.
Great. So perfect. Make sure you guys follow Anthony on LinkedIn as well as visit their website. That is www.ttgway.com.
Yes.
So to our listeners, if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. And one more time, if you're stuck in the grind of manual processes or struggling to grow, we can help you out to optimize operations, bring in leads that convert, boost sales, and scale without the upfront risk. Head over to ambrosialautomations.com to get your free custom 12-month growth plan. All right, that's it for today. Thanks again, Anthony.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me on the program.
Yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. And remember, growth isn't about doing more, it's about doing better. Let's make some waves together. See you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.